What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Reggie Parker Show. I'm Reggie Parker, and you're not. I want to say thank you for tuning in. Thank you for taking the time to look at my podcast. This is our first show, and it's pretty cool to have your own theme music. I wrote that on my Bass Lines and Melodies project a couple of years ago, not knowing that I would one day have my own podcast. Definitely a theme show type vibe. But I just want to say first thing is please subscribe. And if you like what you hear on here, please share it to your friends. First couple of shows will be about musicians. I'm going to try to spread the topics around, not specifically just for musicians, but a lot of male-driven topics. Whole premise of the show is just to tell the truth, try to inspire, laugh, but mainly just start a conversation. And because that's one thing we don't do a lot these days. Everything is just staring at social media, bashing people, laughing at people. But we got to get back to sharing wisdom because there's a lot of ignorance out here, a lot of evil. And I don't like that. I don't like that. My parents, the late Reverend Joe Louis Parker, and my mother, the late Frances Oliver Parker, raised me and my brother a certain way. And one thing I never do is sit and bash people, especially just using their first and last name like it's cool. It's not cool to bash people. It's not cool to try to clown people. Because you got to ask yourself, how would you deal with it if somebody's trying to clown you on a public forum, on a social media forum? It's not cool. Everybody likes to laugh at others until it's their turn to be laughed at. But anyway, let's start the show. I have this saying called, it's not about being the greatest of all time, but it's about being the best that you can be as a musician. Stop focusing on trying to be a GOAT. Just enjoy the journey as a musician. The journey as a musician is a long journey. It's very long. You may cry some tears. You may get frustrated. You may want to give up a bunch of times. Guess what? That's normal. That means you have arrived as a musician. You can't just not pay the toll and think you have arrived. You got to grind. You got to go through things. That's all called paying your toll to cross the bridge. And you got to ask yourself, are you doing it for the attention? Or are you doing it for the love, for the passion? Because I'm telling you, that's what it's going to take to keep pushing you. It's going to get hard. It's going to get tough. And one thing I'm going to say to all musicians, because I didn't have social media when I came up. Now that you have social media, you have a page, you have a platform, you start to show people that you can play a little bit, post you playing just the two of us or whatever song. That doesn't mean that you have arrived. It's way more to being a musician than just posting up cover tunes, getting a bunch of followers and likes and all that stuff. So just keep that in mind. So let's get into this. I got my phone in my notes so I make sure I don't miss anything that I wrote down. I got some pretty interesting things to say. What is the number one reason for musicians not reaching their full potential? What would you think is the number one reason for musicians not reaching their full potential? That would be never being told the truth about your playing. At some point, you gotta be told the truth. You can't be a musician without ever being told about your playing, without being told what you need to improve on. Everybody just wants to be praised and worshiped in this social media era we live in. Everybody just want rose petals thrown at their feet when they walk in the room. It don't work like that, especially for newer musicians. We don't care how fast you play. We don't care how dope you sing. You got to pay your dues first. You can't walk into a room expecting all that with your resume empty as a a empty wall, a white wall in an empty house, a brand new house. It don't work like that. Slow down. You got to be able to handle the truth. When you think about the truth, let's just think of it as in the sports category. You know, a coach, imagine if a coach never told the players that he or she coached the truth. Everybody would think they were the greatest, right? Imagine if a doctor never told their patients the truth. Imagine it's how you would be if your parents never, or whoever raised you, never told you the truth about you, about life. Imagine if God didn't have any truth in the Bible. He just said you could do whatever you want in life. You will make it into heaven, which is a blatant lie. Let's imagine living in a world with no truth. Basically, that's where we're living right now because nobody wants to be told the truth, including musicians. One of the greatest things that you can ever have as a musician is a mentor, because a mentor is just like a coach. Coaches, you ever see a coach like Bill Belichick and some of the old school coaches? When somebody messes up, he'll get into a player, 350 pounds, 6'8", grab his helmet and say some words that I'm not going to share on here because he's ticked off at him. He don't care how big he is. He's telling him how he feel. You suck. What did you do? That was not a smart thing to do. But he's telling them the truth. Why? To correct him and let him get better. That player that's not going to go in the corner and start crying and say he wants to get off the team, he probably messed up. My favorite basketball player is Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan first came into the league, he was very skinny. After Detroit Pistons kept bullying him and pushing him and, being tough for them, somebody said to him, yo, Mike, you got to gain some weight. You got to hit the weights. Hey, Mike, it's nice that you could dunk. You better learn how to shoot a jumper. You better learn how to shoot free throws. Same thing with Kobe Bryant. Name anybody, LeBron. Go to any other sport. Eventually, at some point, somebody's going to have to tell you the truth. And the same thing goes with you being a musician. Musicians, you got to be able to accept the truth. You need a mentor in your life. A mentor doesn't care about one thing. He doesn't care about your feelings. They're going to tell you the truth. Yo, bro, listen, you sound good, but you're doing too damn much. I look at these Instagram posts of some bass players playing cover tunes. They're all over the place. They're doing way too much. Yes, it's great for entertainment. It's great content. But if you get in the studio and you start doing all that, you will be fired. The next person will be coming in to replace you because you're too busy. But if you had a mentor in your life, you would know better. That's the part, is so many people just don't know better because they're not being taught. My mentor and my greatest bass inspiration is Bishop Jeffrey White. Still living. Every time I see him, I give him a hug. And he know why. He know how much I love him, how much I respect him. When I first saw him play, that was the light that said, I got to learn how to play bass. He's putting the bass up in the air. He had all this swagger, creativity, confidence. He was amazing. So I learned how to play. The crazy thing is, and eventually he let me play for his mass choir. And while I was playing, at the end of rehearsal, he came up to me. He said, you know what, Parker? When I want you to be funky, you're pretty. When I want you to play pretty, you playing funky. Get it together. So I said, wow, okay. That's my mentor giving me free wisdom. When somebody gives you free wisdom, musicians, take it, learn from it. I didn't go bashing him behind his back to people like people would do now in this era. Yo, who he think he is? You go right to Facebook trying to bash somebody. I'm going to get back to that. No, I tried to figure out what he was talking about. Then I figured it out why he was saying, when I'm supposed to be pretty, I'm funky and vice versa. Let me say this to you musicians. You young musicians had better stop disrespecting the musicians that did it before you, Because when you have that kind of disrespect and that kind of hatred in your heart, God will never elevate you to go higher as a musician. It's not going to happen because that's evil. And another thing, I got to get this out. It's in my heart. Every musician, just because you can play an instrument does not mean that you're going to be Mr. or Mrs. Popular. Doesn't mean that you're going to be, everybody's going to know your name across the land. It doesn't work like that. Like I said in the beginning, stop focusing on being the best and just try to have fun. You gotta enjoy the journey. Slow down. But with being told the truth, it's mandatory. I see videos, like I said, of bass players playing and they're doing too much, and I read the comments. And that's where the biggest problem is. You gotta stop listening to your followers. I saw a bass player video and he was just fumbling. What's the first comment? Yes, sir. The GOAT. What? The who? Did you listen to what I just listened to? I see videos like that all the time. Too busy. You read the comments, everybody's praising and worshiping. Nobody's critiquing. You know why no one's critiquing? Because they know the person can't handle the truth. A lot of people don't want that smoke because everybody know at this point right now in life how sensitive everybody is. Everybody's become so sensitive. You can't say nothing to them negative. It got to all be positive. You are the greatest. You are beautiful. You're the best to ever do it. There's a bunch of nonsense. We don't, and you'll never learn like that. That's not how the world was meant to be. And if you think you're going to become a great musician without somebody ever telling you the truth, your days are numbered. You're going to plateau. You're going to sit here right here. Your phone going to stop ringing, if it's even ringing now. Your resume is going to stay empty. You're going to be the cover tune king on Instagram. You're not going to have anything else in your life because you're not learning the proper way how to play your instrument. And a lot of you are cool with just being popular on Instagram. Nobody's going to remember Instagram 10, 15 years from now. Kind of try to think higher than just posting cover tunes on social media. You don't want to be on records? But if you want to be on records, the Bible says study to show yourself approved. I have a saying that you got to show people that you're ready for your moment. That means you have to post things that show, that dude right there, those grooves he posts are amazing. He's in a pocket. He's locked. He's disciplined. I want that dude to play on my record. But then you see the other guy posting, he's all over the place. Every video, he's running fast or doing all this stuff. Who you think's getting a call? The first bass player. The second bass player needs a mentor to say, man, you sound good. You play good, but you got to stop being so busy, bro. Learn how to just relax and play the groove. Pick your moments where you do your lick, then come right back to playing the groove. Let that rock, that right. Do that lick again, come right back to playing the groove. It's a science to it. It's a method to it. You got to have that programmed into your head. You got to know when you're too busy. You got to know when, I'm doing too much. It's a fine line to doing too much. It's a fine line to not doing much at all. But if you're playing a dope groove, you don't have to focus on trying to do too many licks. You could do that one lick that will stand the test of time. People just wait for that lick to come around in their song, and that's it. And your phone will keep ringing. I'm telling y'all truth. Habits. Woo! Habits. Habits form and are hard to break as a person in your life and as a musician. I have this analogy is we as human beings, when we get 18, we become who we are and who we will probably stay, our personality. You're not going to be able to say, hey, Reg, when I'm 30 years old, hey, I want you to change your personality. That's not going to happen because we are who we are. The same thing applies to your playing your instrument. Once you become who you are in that instrument, it's almost impossible to change you. So if you're a bass player that is accustomed to playing all over the place, not locking the grooving with the drummer, don't know about grooves, and you're 18, 20 years old, and you stay that way till you're like 30, nobody can't change you. So that's why it's so important to have someone, a mentor, somebody that can reel you in and be like, yo, bro, you got to learn how to chill and groove on the bass. And like I said, a mentor don't care about your feelings. So they're going to come at you and it's not going to always be pleasant. Just like a coach. It's the same thing. You got to be careful with that, man, because once you get that, once you form your personality as a musician, it's not going to change. And nobody's going to be able to help you. Some of you have formed those habits and you are who you are and you are who you will stay. And that's on you. We all need a mentor in our life. No one's above that. We got to have mentors. I know some incredible musicians. When we came up back in the day, so let's say playing for Love Fellowship, Hez would always say what he wanted to say without any care in the world. You know why? Because it was his choir. It said Hezekiah Walker and the Love Fellowship Crusade Choir. No band members were mentioned. And you have to get out of your feelings and understand that you are just part of a group. Your name is not mentioned, so you could be replaced. He would say when they start shouting, he would tell us, "Oh, I wish I had a band that could play shout music." On the mic in front of everybody that was at the show. Could be 2,000, 3,000 people there. We didn't have a fit. We didn't care. Better yet, there was time. There was times where he had a shout music band. His church crew musicians, when they started shouting, we would get off the instruments and they would come play the shout music because he wanted it a certain way. Once again, it's his choir. So we were sitting aside while they played the shout music. When the shout music ended, we would switch and go into the next song. All of us that came up, Bush Hayward would always put drummers in their place. Doing too much, son. Get off the set. Watch such and such play. And if he's playing, he would give you that. That means you too loud, bro. Turn it down. He would do that to me all the time. What was I gonna do? He was older than me, more experienced than me. Reverence. There's no reverence these days. Young musicians, you got to have reverence. I don't know if anybody's teaching you that. You got to have reverence. That means respect. You got to respect those that done it before you. You got to respect those that are older than you. You got to respect those that are more experienced than you. You can't just go running amok on social media saying anything you want, naming guys by first and last name. You can't. You could get yourself hurt by doing that. You can't disrespect people like that. You disrespect the wrong one, you may have a problem. I just want to put that out there. You got to chill with that stuff. Stop just trying to embarrass people. What you should do is just pick your instrument up and try to get better. Use that time to be quality time, not evil time, not disrespectful time. Too much time is spent these days trying to clown people. So all people want to do is clown people. Musicians included. We got to stop that. Where are you in your state of playing where you can sit there and actually try and laugh and disrespect somebody else when your resume is empty? You can barely play. Only time you can play is when a song has a blueprint for you, a cover tune, a song that's already been recorded. If somebody calls you to the studio to play an original song, there's no bass line, and they say, all right, this song needs a bass line. You think you can do that? This song needs an intro. I'm going to tell you a quick story real quick. You got to always be ready. If you think you one of the greatest to ever do it, all right. I got a call from a friend on a Friday night recently, 10 o'clock at night. Yo, Reg, man, I got a song for you. I want to feature you on it. It needs a bass solo. All right, send it over. Let me see, if it's something I think I can add to it. I said, oh, this is dope. So he sent it over about 10:15. I listened to it, started coming up with a blueprint to follow. It was from the intro. It was about a minute and 15 seconds of me just soloing. That's a long time. So by the time I went to bed, I had a great blueprint to follow. Woke up the next morning, finished it, sent it to him about 11:30. The WAV files, finished. That's it. Point is, you got to be ready. If you claim to be somebody dope on your instrument and somebody wants to call you up out of the blue and say, yo, I got a solo for you to do, you can't say, all right, give me 3 weeks to practice. No, bro, I need it in like 5 hours. You got to have a bag of licks in your bag, a bag of just, the stuff that you can pull out and do so you can get the job done. You don't never know what kind of phone calls you're going to get as a musician if you get them. If you listen to what I'm trying to tell you and get you a mentor and learn how to do it the right way, and you start displaying the right type of way of playing on your social media page, I guarantee you your phone will start ringing. I guarantee it. It won't ring for everybody. Got to put that disclaimer out there. It's not going to ring for everybody. There's a time in every musician's life where one day your phone's going to stop ringing. Everybody has a certain amount of time before it's time to move on. I was about to say something. I'm gonna save that one for later. Sometimes being told the truth isn't just about your playing. Woo, woo, that's powerful. Sometimes being told the truth as a musician isn't just about your playing. Sometimes people got to tell you, bro, you it's time for you to put music on the side and get you a job. It's obvious that you out here struggling with music. Music is not for every musician to make a living doing. And a lot of musicians think that, because they can play, they're supposed to be out here making all of this money. And, in the black community, you got to play for a church, then you go on tour with an R&B group. That seems to be the generational thing. Playing for a church, the money that you get, you'd be shocked how little that is. If I told you that a church was paying $450 a Sunday, most of you would get excited. Yo, I'm there. Be careful before you jump the gun because of the $450. $450 sounds like a lot of money. You know how much $450 is for the year? That's $23,400. That's poverty. Now, if you 30 and over, you got responsibilities, that's not money. If that's just your sole income, what are you doing with that? You can't live on your own with that. There's no way. Now, if you got a job on the side, a 9 to 5, then you doing that, okay, cool. You add that to your salary, fine. But in order to really have a great salary that you can live off, you probably need $800 a Sunday. How many are you going to get that? It's just not going to happen. I don't care if you say, well, my boy JT, he got, okay, he's blessed. There's not too many of him around. $800 a Sunday is a lot of money, especially if you're a bass player. Organist, okay, cool. I could see that happening for them. I can see them getting more than that. But still, that's still only $40,000, $41,000. So what I'm saying is at times you got to be told the truth. It's time for you to get a job. There's nothing wrong with that. Do you know that I worked at Men's Warehouse. I worked at Macy's, seasonal job, got fired, got an argument with the supervisor. I worked at Target. I worked at Whole Food doing the milk aisle and all that stuff. It was very tough, very humbling. But I had to do what I had to do because music wasn't working. Music wasn't working. It just wasn't cutting it. And when I was working at that milk aisle one day, I did the closing. It was about 11:15 at night. And I looked down the aisle and I was so frustrated just with my life. I said, you got a choice. You can either stay here and do this the rest of your life and probably have a stroke, or you can go back to school. And I'll never forget that. And that's when I went home and told my wife, I want to go back to school. Went back to school for social work, graduated with honors. So now I got my social work master's degree, just got to pass the test, and now I have a job for the rest of my life. But I'm just this much closer to that goal than I would have been if I had stayed at the store and didn't go back to school. Sometimes you got to have a partner, somebody that could tell you you need to pivot. That's where a mentor comes in. Or somebody that could tell you the truth. It's time to pivot. There's nothing wrong with pivoting. You can either pivot, sacrifice to go back to school, try to find the money, take out money to get it done, or be frustrated. You be in your 60s trying to play for a church. That's just not a good look. It's just not a good look. And don't tell me, oh, I just do it for the Lord. I never heard a talented, great musician saying, I just do it for the Lord. No, they doing it to get paid. Everybody that says I'm just doing it for the Lord can barely play. I ain't never heard no dope musician say, I just out here doing it for the Lord. Yeah, you doing it for the Lord and a check. So glad I thought of that. I'm going to ask you guys a question. It's a good question. A lot of us play for a church. Let's just keep it a buck. Let's keep it a buck, please. Don't come here with your off-the-wall stuff. A lot of us play for a church only because we need the money. I don't know nobody, like I said, that's going to get up a Sunday morning and go play for a church for free. They need the money. What if all of a sudden you start doing really good in life? You making 150, 200K. Will you still play for a church? I got to be honest with you. Not me. It ain't happening. I don't play for one now. I'm not doing it. Would you do it? Because we only play for the church because we need the money. We got to pay our mortgage. We got to pay this. We got to pay that. If you started making 200, 250K for however, continuously, you still playing for a church? I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't see it. I hadn't played for a church for 6 years. Then I got a call. Oh, I want you to play for a church. I said, come on, bro. He basically had to talk me into it. So I said, yes. I was getting paid $450. I'll just put that out there. I'll do it. But then after 2 months, I realized, you know what? My heart still ain't in this. All these crazy, intricate songs, I got to put all this time into hitting, to learning and pressing the rewind button on YouTube 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week. It lasted 5 months, and I was like, yo, I can't do this no more. I can't. That season in my life is over. Learn how to read the seasons in your life, please. Don't ignore. After I left that church, I saw a TED talk about learning to listen to your intuition. A lot of people fail to listen to their intuition, and they continue to walk in sadness, frustration. And I said, wow, I felt so good after listening to that because I had paid attention to my intuition, to my heart. You always hear me saying, follow your heart, not the crowd. I felt so good. And my boys asked me, will you ever miss it? No, never gonna happen. Been there, done that. I've been playing for a church since I was 14. That's when I started to play. Never gonna miss it. Nah, I want to do something else. I told God, I said, God, if this is all you got for me to play, is just to sit and play for a church, then, I'm good. I'll bow out. I don't have to play. I'll just do my music on the side, my original music. But if that's all you got for me, I'm good. It's okay to have conversations with God like that. Not disrespectful ones. But just conversate. No, I'm good, God. I'm good. No, I want to do more in life than just play in a church. That's me. You got to take care and you have to please yourself. I just wanted to share that with you. What else I got on here? If you can't handle the truth, you probably won't get as high as you could if you could handle the truth. I think I said a little bit about that earlier. Because when someone tells you the truth about your plan, hopefully you'll get better and you will improve. And the world will see the improvement, and then your phone will start ringing. My phone used to ring off the hook back in the time when I was 17, 18. When I went to college at Lincoln University, I already knew how to play. I had a band. We was killing, bro. We was killing. I had a tape of my freshman year. We was doing Jamaica Funk, Tom Brown. We killed that. I was locked with the drummer. Locked at 18. That's my point about you are who you are. You got to be careful of the personality that you form as a musician early because that's who you're going to stay. At 18, I had already formed that personality of locking in with the drummer, grooving. I already knew the formula. Learn the formula. A lot of you not learning the formula. I got a song called The Groove Formula. Keep it funky and play the groove. Keep it tight. Now watch them move. That's the groove. That's the groove formula. That's dope. That ain't never gonna change. I said that on the song. That's on my Triple OG project, the Groove Formula. Check it out. Funky as hell. I'm not gonna say stuff like that don't make any sense. Keep it funky and play the groove. Keep it tight. Now watch them move. That's the Groove Formula. Come on, man. Come on, guys. It's not that hard. Can you imagine raising your kids without any truth? Can you imagine raising kids without ever telling them the truth? How you think you're going to be a musician and never be told the truth? I think I hit everything. I think I did. I had some notes here that said, many musicians think that because they can play, that they are supposed to be on top of the world. Takes way more than that. You cannot expect much in life if you can't handle the truth. It's not going to turn out good for you. It's just not. When a coach tells his players the truth, he's not concerned about their feelings. Not at all. When your mentor tells you the truth, they're not concerned about your feelings. Not at all. And I'm so glad I thought of this before we get off here. If you are a musician and you can't handle the truth as you go on and get bigger gigs, if you get bigger gigs, there's one person that's going to tell you the truth and not care about your feelings, and they may break you. You know who that person is? Musical director. The musical directors from my time played no games. They played zero games. They expected you to play your part on whatever instrument that you were playing without having to be told anything. You got to that gig because you were supposed to be good at what you do. Musical directors on say R&B gigs, they have to report to the artist. So they have to make sure that the band is tight. Back in the day, you didn't hear bass players on stage going ballistic, doing all these runs and stuff. You didn't hear that because the musical director wouldn't let that happen. Nowadays, I hear it often, and I often wonder, well, the musical director just letting this stuff go? I guess it's just a different way of thinking. I don't know. But the musical director in my time had the band tight, real tight. We knew better. Nowadays, you come in there playing all that runs in rehearsal, he gonna look at you like, bro, this ain't Instagram. This is the show. Two different things. Instagram, and then there's the show. So I don't, The musical directors in my time were really, really amazing. Really amazing. They had the band super tight and ready. We were ready for whatever the music was. We were ready. So, in summary, all you young musicians, get out your feelings. Constructive criticism is not to embarrass you. Stop thinking you're getting embarrassed. And you're seeing all these people, the pastors calling out musicians doing actual services, and stop getting in your feelings. If you can't handle that, then don't be a musician. Too much is given, much is required. You can't just sit there. Or if I was playing, I would have told him this. You wouldn't have told him nothing, because first of all, you would have been kicked out of that musical community in that whatever city that was, because they would see you as a hostile type of dude. So stop saying you will resort to violence or something, inappropriate. If you think you was disrespected, just go to the person and say, listen, I'm a grown man. I think you should have talked to me a different way. And talk it out. Or you can leave. Never come back. But don't resort to being violent. That's never going to be good for you. The musical community, one thing you have as a musician is what? A reputation. When your name is brought up, they're going to say certain things about you. It ain't a personality contest. Can you play? Can you get the job done? Can people deal with you? Those three things are very important. Important. Can people, the bandmates, get along with you? Can you play? Can you get the job done? Those are the three most important things. Yep, we covered a lot. I think I covered everything I wanted to cover. As soon as I sign off, I'll think of 4 other things. But just enjoy the journey, guys. But seriously, get out your feelings and stop taking it so serious. It's not that serious. Stop worrying about being a GOAT and just enjoy the journey. Be the best that you can be. And take whatever God gives you. God may give you just a talent. He may give you a gift. He may give you an anointing. You don't know. But you can't control that. Just say thank you for whatever he gives you. Whatever opportunity he gives you. Whatever opportunity you get as a musician, don't take it for granted. If you're playing, you get asked to play for a group that nobody heard of. Guess what? No one heard of you either. So you give that group your best and see where it takes you. You can't just make it to the top of the world overnight. It don't work like that. But I thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. Please don't forget to subscribe. If anything I said you think someone needs to hear, please share this. Copy this link and share it to your friend that you think needs to hear this podcast. Please let your friends know about the podcast. And we will, wow, that's a tongue twister. We will be back with another episode shortly. Thank you for watching. No matter what life brings, no matter what life throws at you, never lose your swagger. Peace and love. The Reggie Parker Show out.